Every person in Humanville loved learning a lot, but the Grump who lived just north of Humanville did not. The Grump hated learning the whole transformation season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Enlightenment Eve, hating the news, staring down from his cave with a sour, grumpy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every person in Humanville sought to open their minds with the knowledge they'd bought. And they're reading their books, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Enlightenment Day, it's practically here. Then he growled, with his grump fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to stop this new learning from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the minds would awaken. They'd read Larkey's book, and no knowledge forsaken. And the more the Grump thought of the whole transformation, the more the Grump thought, I must stop this sensation. Why, for 33 years I've put up with it now. I must stop the awakening from coming. But how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grump got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grump laughed in his throat. I'll stop them from reading. I'll throw off their boat. So he called his cat Whiskers and made a quick plan to sneak into town with his big empty van. He drove into Humanville, quiet as a mouse, parked in the shadows and snuck to each house. With Whiskers at his side, he slipped into rooms to snatch up the books that promised to bloom. He grabbed every copy of the Unified Theory of You, thinking they won't read and they won't break through. With a sly little smirk and a heart full of glee, he took every book, then fled up a tree. But back in his cave with the books in a heap, the Grump felt uneasy. He couldn't quite sleep. He opened a copy, just out of pure spite, and started to read in the dim candlelight. The pages spoke truths that he'd never known, of unity, oneness, how judgment had grown. He read about breaking the cycles of hate, of finding compassion before it's too late. As he read through the night, his heart began swelling, a warmth filled his chest, and he found it compelling. The wisdom he read was like nothing before. It opened his mind and his heart even more. By morning, the Grump was a different soul, no longer trapped in his judgmental role. He gathered the books, everyone, every copy, and headed to town with a heart feeling floppy. He placed all the books back in their spots, feeling lighter and freer, untangling the knots. Then he called for a meeting in the center of town to share what he'd learned, to turn frowns upside down. People of Humanville, he began with a smile, I've something to share. Please listen a while. I tried to stop you from reading this book, but now I've discovered it's worth a deep look. This book teaches love, unity, and light. It opens your mind, brings new truths to sight. By letting go of judgment, we all can transcend to higher dimensions where our spirits can mend. The people all listened, their hearts open wide. They took back their books with grateful pride. And as they read, they started to see the profound truths of the Unified Theory of You set them free. So, if you ever doubt the power of change, remember the Grump who found it so strange that a book could transform, heal, and renew, just like the Unified Theory of You.